Have you ever wondered if the suffering Job in our scriptures was once a mighty king, crowned with purpose and divine authority? Long before the name Job echoed through the halls of suffering and endurance, there was a king Jobab of Edom, a ruler not born into power, but chosen by righteousness, a man who stood against the tide of spiritual darkness, only to be stripped of everything and remembered as a servant of Yahweh. Before he was known as the suffering sage of Uz, ancient traditions and texts suggest Job may have once been Jobab ben Zerah, a king of Edom who ruled from Bozrah. This identification, found in the Septuagint and echoed in early Catholic and Orthodox traditions, paints a radically different portrait of Job. Not merely a man of patience, but a royal figure who stood against spiritual darkness. Scripture and history whisper of a transformation. Genesis names Jobab, son of Zerah, king in Edom. The book of Jasher confirms his reign in Bozrah. The Septuagint hints at a deeper identity. These aren't disconnected fragments, they're pieces of a divine puzzle. Bozrah Uzadum land steeped in rebellion and occult worship. Into this darkness stepped Jobab, a man chosen not by bloodline, but by merit. His story is not merely one of losses, a war story, a testimony of transformation. From throne to ashes, from king to servant, from earthly power to eternal purpose. Today, we're going to hear this story from the man who lived it, Jobab, or Job, as he's now known. Jobab, king of Edom, slayer of shadows, narrated by Jobab ben Zerah. Before the ashes, before the silence, before the whirlwind spoke, I was a king. My name was Jobab, son of Zerah. My throne stood in Bozrah, the heart of Edom. My dominion stretched across Uz, a land now whispered in tales of suffering. But I was not born for suffering. I was forged for war. Genesis 36-33. And when Bala died, Jobab the son of Zerah of Bozrah reigned in his stead. The kingship of Edom was no birthright. It was earned, chosen by the people, not inherited by blood. Even the book of Jasher records it. I rose not as a son of Esau, but as a man of righteousness, elected to lead in a time of spiritual decay. Jasher 92:1-5. And the children of Esau reigned over Edom, and Jobab son of Zerah was chosen by the people. The land groaned under the weight of sorcery. Altars to Molech burned in the night. Whispers of Lilith rode the desert winds. Merchants trafficked cursed relics from Sheba and Midian. And I, by the authority of Yahweh, declared war, not on flesh and blood, but on the principalities, the powers, the rulers of darkness that defiled my land. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. I was not alone in this war. Heaven watched, the Most High guided, and the Septuagint bears witness. I ruled from Asus, married an Arabian woman, and stood as a beacon of righteousness in a land drowning in idols. Septuagint, Job postscript. This man is described in the Syriac book as living in the land of Asus, and he was a ruler of Edom. But war against darkness invites its gaze. And so the accuser came, not with armies, but with permission. He stood before Yahweh and asked for me by name, and Yahweh, in his wisdom, allowed it. Job 1:6-12. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? My wealth vanished, my children died, my body broke, and the crown I wore fell into the dust. Yet even in suffering, I did not curse him, I did not turn, I waited for the whirlwind. Job 2:10. Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? He came, not with comfort, but with revelation, not to explain, but to magnify his name. And I, the king who once cast down idols, was cast down myself, only to be raised again. Job 38-42. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. The Duarims says, I wrote my story in Arabic. The Church Slavonic says, I ruled again. The Syriac texts say I was resurrected. But I say this, I was Jobab, king of Edom. I became Job, servant of Yahweh. And my war was not lost, it was transformed. From sword to silence, from throne to testimony, from earthly power to eternal purpose. Job 42:12-17. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. Let my story be a warning. Let it be a call. The darkness still moves. The idols wear new faces. But Yahweh remains. Declare war, children of light. And when the whirlwind comes, stand. Thanks for watching my story. If you want to know more, leave a like, comment below. Subscribe to God's Armory so you don't miss anything new. As always, be blessed and be a blessing.